which means good morning. This is Seashell Surf, and I'm coming to you live from the Hanapēpē Salt Pond Beach Park, which is at low tide right now. Hanapēpē, or as it was originally known as Hanapēpē, means crushed bay, because people would say as they're arriving by boat, coming into shore or on a surfboard or canoe, that the valley looks as if there are many landslides, scars, or current. So this is a very important valley on the west side of the island, which is the leeward or dry side, and we're having a little bit of a heavy day of fog today. It's been hot and humid and unbearable. We mostly don't have air conditioning, so the trade winds are nice to have back finally. They should clear the fog away a little bit later. So it's kind of a time early in the morning when the smart people get to the beach, because the sand isn't hot yet. It's low tide. You'll be able to explore a lot of things around here. And there's plenty of space to get your space early when you get here. Now, out in the distance that we're looking at, the reason why I'm having the camera pointed over there is to see if I can even see the small island of Ni'ihau out on the side there. But I know that coming out here we could see a lot of fog, which is volcanic fog that's brought up here from southerly winds, and it leaves a haze in the sky. So on some days when it's clear, you can see the beautiful island. On the day that the ceremony to celebrate King Kaua'I, the last king of the island, in Waimea, which is further west here, at his housing and religious complex, it just so happened it was so clear that day that not only could you see the island well enough, however, you could see the small islet, which is just the top of a volcanic crater, and I mean it's a rock. It's called Lehua Island, or an islet, and it's just the top of a summit of a volcano. So we're the oldest island here, at least in the 8 main Hawaiian islands, and Ni'ihau was most likely a part of the island of Kaua'i's west side. So at one time, the Pacific Plate is moving in a northwest direction, and there are actually 2 hot spots. One where Kilauea is erupting, and the other one is southeast of the district of Puna, which is where Volcanoes National Park, and Kilauea, which is on the flank of Mauna Loa, is erupting. Underneath the ocean is a submarine volcano, and so it's about I want to say 300 meters below sea level right now. It's a submarine volcano, so it is makes pillow lava, which is when the lava comes out under the water, it starts to cool off immediately. So black sand beaches are actually made, young sand black beaches are made when the obsidian is cooled immediately from hitting the coldness of the water. Now, because of the elevation of Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa, they do get snow, and there is glaciation up at the top of Mauna Kea at Lake Waiau. So we have, on the island of Hawaii, there is every single type of terrain on our planet on one island. And it's still growing, but the new island that's forming, that's a submarine volcano, that's known as Lo'ihi, which means long. All right, I'm gonna try to stand up here. I'm sitting in one of those chairs that are impossible to get up and out of. Okay. I'm okay. What I'm gonna do is, I think I will just give you a small kind. Just let it sit in the sand while I get up from the chair here. So you're looking west, out towards Kaua'I Channel. All right. Now, for those of you who have not seen the previous Hanapēpē video, we were fortunate to catch an actual throw net fisherman doing his gig out here with the fish net, and people are raised here doing that. So you might go out during this time of day for fish net throwing, because what they want to do is they want to be able to walk along the reef and you can see that the reef is exposed. And so this is a good opportunity. It's a clear day for the water as well. So as you're walking along the rock wall reef, well, it's a reef, you look for the schools of fish, you throw your fish net out. It's a skilled work. It's a skilled job. There are specific words in Hawaiian that show the level of mastery of skillful work such as that. Now, I want to tell you about the shell collecting situation on the island here. You know the big conch shells that are used they are sounded when royalty is about to enter, or a special ceremony or event is going to occur. You have to dive deep down to get those. They don't come rolling up on the shores over here like in Key West, Florida, the conch shell. So you really have to understand that if you find shells here, you're most likely to find Kaua'I shell. And those have a special significance with fishing here. They are used to catch he'e, or squid, or octopi. And so because we're the tops of mountains, and Kaua'I being the oldest of the 8 major islands, as you go further northwest past the island of Kaua'I, you hit Nihoa and Necker, where the Marquesas travelers came, and there has been evidence of them. The Marquesas is located near the Cook and Society Islands somewhat. I think they're a little bit more west, if my memory serves me from my map, of Polynesia, which is the largest nation on Earth. Okay, I'm in the sand, and it's low tide. So you can see it probably was at one time a real fishing pond, which would have been incorporated to build a rock wall, and then you create gates that allow certain size fish to come in and stay in. So they had a gate system on these rock walls. Now this is part of the reef, so they could have used that, you know. But so they had a very high technology of aquaculture and agriculture, which makes this valley even more important because fish was salted and preserved here. And I'm gonna either live or videotape the salt ponds. It's actually salt pond season, which begins in May. So the salt making has begun by the families that have the Kuleana land, so to speak, which means they have the rights and the access and the privilege of being able to make the whole traditional Hawaiian salt. It's only made using clay beds that are filled with salt water until it evaporates. And like Himalayan salt is pink, we are high in iron oxide here, which makes our soil very red. And thus, we have a lot of clay, which we refer to as alaya. If you've ever seen people wearing red clay shirts, Kaua'I, it is that clay that is used as an important dye. It's used as a medicine in old traditional Hawaii. It's used for many reasons. So here, because Kaua'I is the oldest island, we have the most perennial streams. So that's important here on the west side, especially because it gave them the opportunity to grow the staple food of their diet, which is the taro, or kalo as it's called here in Hawaii. So people who lived down here and had salt rights, and people who were fishermen, they could trade with the farmers for mai'a, which is banana, kalo, of course. And so, pardon my walking, the sand is not easy to walk in. I need to go a little closer to the wet sand, but not supposed to. Okay. Well, I hope you're enjoying this. Hit that like button. Anyway, so Hanapēpē became a place of commerce for Hawaiians in traditional Hawaii. And so here you see a typical shoreline of shell and broken glass. Just around the corner here is a beach that we call Glass Beach. Okay, so we're the tops of mountains. So the kind of shells that wash up on the shores of other places that are coastal, continental beaches, we don't get shells like that here. In North Carolina, we used to find shark's teeth all the time, big black ones. So they were old. Here, you're not going to likely find that. We're just the tops of mountains sticking out of the water. And we're the oldest. And being the oldest of the main ones that can be occupied, the coral reefs will always begin to form on the southern side of the islands and the west side. And right now, they do have out the signs that it is a strong current, which it is beyond those walls. You can see here it's comes in and the wind gives it a nice ripple, but there's still a little bit of a current there, but you're protected by the wall at this point. But beyond that, the rip tide is strong. So the salt ponds are more towards my left as we're looking out. And you'll see that there's what we refer to as limu or seaweed growing on the rocks over there like a carpet. And seaweed, if you haven't eaten sushi before, seaweed is also part of the traditional native Hawaiian diet. Very important for flavoring and medicinal purposes in the old days. And specific things that you were to do with it, like because of its name. We have a limu here that means forgiven. It has many connotations to the word kala. So you could use it in a cleansing ceremony to be forgiven for breaking a law or something to that effect. It would be used. You actually had to make a lei out of it and wear it to symbolize that you were finished with your sentence after being punished for a crime or mistake you made. Well, this is Seashell Surf. I am taking a break from some financial responsibilities I've had over the past couple of days that have made my head spin, so I needed some fresh air, and I have an aunt visiting from a faraway land in Europe. So I'm up early today to get up and out and spend a little quality time with the family. This is Seashell Surf. I'll be coming to you live again where we can see some other things, including the salt ponds. From the beautiful shores of the island of Kaua'I and many waterfalls, this is Seashell Surf, signing off right now from Hanapēpē, Kaua'I. Aloha.